Hey guys, welcome back to my tiny kitchen. Today is Christmas. Merry Christmas. But this was just a clickbait. This is not a Christmas video. I want to talk about my New Year reset I've mentioned in other videos, and I hope that you'll join me. And the reason I'm doing it today is because if you want to be successful with any resolution in a new year, you should probably kind of start getting into it before New Year. So why reset? For one thing, if you're like me, you just barely finished all the leftovers from Thanksgiving, which was carbs and carbs and carbs, just to make tons of food for Christmas. Then I'll be eating leftovers, carbs and carbs and carbs until the big meal on New Year. So a reset is in order. I eat pretty healthy, so maybe I'm doing the reset for different reasons than you may. But it's a really good thing to do. And why don't I call it a diet? Because I think in order to be successful, people always fail dieting. So I think in order to be successful in dieting, it's really important to reset your body first. You'll hear people talk about intuitive eating, stuff like that. I think that's really maybe a natural way of doing things, but it's impossible if your body is hijacked by salt, by fat, by ultra processed foods. So my reset is for 30 days. Number one, no ultra processed food. And I was going to show you examples, and I don't have it in front of me. That doesn't just necessarily mean junk food. Ketchup is ultra processed food. Anything that's got emulsifiers. So my kids like Cholula. That's got peppers in it, vinegar, but I think there's like a xanthan gum. There's some kind of gum. Gums are emulsifiers. For a long time, we believed that they are sort of natural and they don't do anything, but now we know they mess with your microbiome. They are bad. So does that mean you can't have any condiments? Mustard. If you look at ingredients on a mustard, a lot of times it's just mustard seed, vinegar, water. Um, there is a Mexican hot tomato sauce, like hot sauce in a yellow can. You can look at that. It's just hot peppers, vinegar, maybe salt. Again, so read ingredients. If there's a xanthan gum, if there's any kind of gum, you can't have it for a month. What else you can't have? Oil. Now the debate goes on whether oils are healthy or not healthy, and seed oils and olive oils, but really a lot of times they are empty calories. You can get all the good chemicals, right, out of olives just as well as out of olive oil. And you can eat about 75 olives, equivalent to a tablespoon of olive oil. And who uses tablespoon, right? You just drizzle that stuff all over. Salt. If you are one of those people who come in a restaurant and before you even taste your food, you start shaking your salt shaker, you have a problem by definition. So part of the reset is 100% no ultra processed foods, no salt, no oil, no meat, but I'm not going to argue that one with you. If you are one of my friends who will just never ever give up eating meat, I would like for you to try vegan. People do that, vegan January. Try it, really try it. For a month, don't eat any meat products, no saturated fat. You may lose weight. In fact, I would say if you are diabetic or if you're taking statins, medication for blood pressure, you may want to talk to your doctor. And definitely if you after a month, if you want to continue this kind of diet, you want to have a conversation with your doctor, because the medication you're on suddenly may be way too much. This kind of reset can really change your life. So I'm not giving you medical advice. Talk to your doctor. Not that doctor will give you, most doctors are not qualified to give you nutritional advice, but they have a better malpractice insurance. So talk to your dietitian, whatever. But what I'm advising you to do cannot harm you. So there are different levels to this kind of reset. The best one, if you really, really want to discover if you happen to be allergic to something, or what are your addictions, what do you have problem with, is called Mary's Mini. And Dr. McDougall, his wife, who's a vegan doctor, and people always ask him for a diet. So his wife, Mary, came up with Mary's Mini. And what it is a plate that's split half in half. You pick your favorite carb, which could be, let's say you say potato. All right, potato it is. And the whole time, you can only eat potatoes. air fried, mashed, steamed, but potato. That's half a plate. And the other half a plate is some vegetable. Costco broccoli. If you air fry this stuff, maybe with a little bit of balsamic vinegar, which is not processed food, maybe some grainy mustard, which is not processed food, or just by itself in air fryer is so delicious. So that's the strictest form of this. I forgot to say one more thing. Maybe for the month, try no bread. Maybe if you live in Europe, bread is different than in the States. I love bread, and I don't think it's doing me any justice or making me feel good. Yet when I'm in Europe, no problems. So also try no flour. So here we go, no salt, no oil, no meat, no flour, but mainly no ultra processed foods. I will not do Mary's Mini. So there are other kind of ways you can do this. You can do big meal prep of stews, like I'm gonna make goulash, I'm gonna make curry, I'm gonna make lecho, which is a Hungarian. I've made a lot of videos about lecho dish out of peppers and tomatoes. I'm gonna make maybe chili. So I'm gonna do Mexican Tuesdays. Can you have tortillas? Definitely not flour ones. But if you can find a local Mexican store that sells tortillas that are strictly masa, which is the corn flour, and lime, which is how masa is made, then maybe no problem. I will probably buy them. If it includes, like Trader Joe's has those two ingredients, plus guar gum or xanthan gum, it's out, you can't have it. Then just make a Mexican bowl. So you can make the plate like Mary's Mini. You can alternate these things. You can meal prep or eat it. Guys, if you don't have an Instant Pot, get an Instant Pot. That's a lifesaver. But if you don't have one, big heavy pot, let's say I make chili, 6 quart Instant Pot. I will have a mason jar worth for dinner. I will put another mason jar in the fridge to maybe have a day or two later, and I'll still have 4 mason jars to put in the freezer. If I do this 4 days in a row, I make one day I make goulash, one day I make curry, one day I make lecho, whatever. One day I make Moroccan lentil stew. I never have to cook again a whole month. I'll have enough food to rotate a whole month. But I won't do that. I'll still will do these mason jars, but then sometimes I will have just plate of the Mary's Mini, just maybe mashed potatoes and some broccoli. Some days I will have maybe make a bowl out of fresh stuff. I don't eat breakfast, but if you do, then maybe oats, just oats. Don't use any kind of milk, definitely no dairy milk, but even like almond milk has got emulsifiers in it. So unless you squeeze your own almonds, just use some water. Put tons of frozen fruit on it. Also, second, if you want to do Mary's Minute, there's no fruit, no nuts, if you really, really want to lose weight. If you're just doing a reset, overnight oats, you put oats in some water, throw some frozen berries, some mango, or whatever you like, out of Costco, huge bags, cheap. Put it in the fridge. In the morning, you have delicious breakfast. I usually don't eat breakfast, so I do 1 meal or 2 meals a day. So I will probably do huge one meal, like let's say the curry, and then I may have a bowl of fruit, which I usually eat too much fruit, but that's fine because I'm not doing the Mary's Mini. Will this be delicious? For me, maybe. For you, possibly no. And you may feel like you're failing. And that's actually the point of a reset. Ask yourself, really meditate, ask yourself, why am I suddenly ready to quit this? Why do I feel I can't live without coffee? Yeah, you should quit coffee and alcohol. I just keep adding up. The longer you keep me here, the worse this becomes. So yeah, you should quit coffee. You should quit alcohol. And a lot of these things you can go back to. But if you say already, oh no, I just can't live without coffee, you're undermining your success. Of course you can live without coffee. People lived without coffee for thousands of years. And that's the secret, right? People lived without shaking salt shaker and everything for thousands of years. Salt was inaccessible and super expensive. So were a lot of other spices. So will it taste good? Compared to what? Let's say curry. Will my curry taste good as good as the one from in the restaurant? No, because they put tons of coconut cream or coconut milk. They start by sauteing everything in butter or in ghee. So there is so much fat in there, which makes it, maybe put sugar, which makes it really, really delicious. Of course, the combination of salt, sweet, and fat, the trifecta, the evil trifecta that doesn't exist in nature, makes it super delicious. But then also I eat in in an Indian restaurant, let's say, and I feel like, oh, this was so delicious. And I regret it before we get home. And I regret it the next day. If you make curry, and I'll make these videos over the next month, I'll show you how I make these. If you make my curry, it won't have that kind of richness, but you can still thicken it with a blender. You can still, I think it's really delicious. And if it's not, you have to ask yourself why. If you quit, you have to ask yourself why. Back to the salt and back to oil. Do I think they're bad? No, but think about this. If you shake salt on everything, you don't even taste the salt after a while. You just automatically oversalt everything. I use salt as a special treat. I don't use salt in cooking at all. But also I eat kimchi that's already got salt in it. I eat sauerkraut that's got salt in it. So some of these things that are not ultra processed foods use salt in processing. Aside from that, when I cook, I never use added salt. So every once in a while I quarter a tomato. I take I don't have my salt shaker here, but coarse grind of some Himalayan or some nice salt on top of that. Guys, that's so good. That salt just hits the spot. It's a treat. It's like salty candy. Same with oil. If you don't cook with oil, you make certain like root vegetable soups, and then you just drizzle a little bit of olive oil as a finishing touch. That is so good. Or a pho or some Asian soups, and then you take sesame oil, you buy really quality sesame oil, and really just a few drops on the top, and that enhances the flavor, and it's so good. So these things, if you quit them, then you come back to them, become way more delicious if you use them judiciously. What else did I wanted to tell you about this? I would say, so if I told you, if you have some medical issues, maybe talk to a doctor. But even if you don't, if you have a doctor who's a friend who can, or if you can just afford to go to the lab and pay for it, or if your doctor can order it for you, do a blood test after. Do one before and after. And if you do, like most Americans eating standard American diet, if you have some issues with cholesterol or pre-diabetic or diabetic, I've made videos before where I dropped my A1C significantly in a month just by diet. Do a blood, if you can afford it, do a blood test before, complete panels, blood test after, and you may really, really be surprised how powerful food is as medicine. Yeah, so meal prep before New Year. The reason I'm doing it today, look, big bags of beautiful onions, organic from Costco, doesn't cost much. Tofu, I have extra firm and firm. I have probably 3 boxes of each in the garage. Pre-cooked potatoes. I don't want to open this, but if you're making potato salad, vegan, so I in my Instant Pot, I filled it up with potatoes, 6 quart. This is full of potatoes. They are cooked. So if I want to make something quick, and I don't want to be doing the curry or whatever, just this, and put it in the Instant Pot to heat it up, or mash it, the broccoli, beautiful dinner. Carrots, organic. If you do cook, basis of everything is really chopping onions. You can do that, right? Chopping carrot, saute that. Lentils. Now, I usually buy dry beans and dry lentils. I soak them, I cook them. That's the cheapest way, the healthiest way, most delicious way. But I want to make this easy for you guys. Look at this. Organic dark kidney beans. I forgot how much it is, like $6. What is this? 6 pounds, 12 ounces. A huge can. My local store, I forgot what the store is called, but they have organic dark red kidney beans. They have chickpeas. They have all these. Buy huge cans. This will make you the curry, the goulash, the chili, inexpensively forever. I think that's all there is to be said for this. I hope you guys join me. Maybe I'll make a few more videos reminding you to get it together and go shopping. And I hope you join me for this in the new year. If you have any questions, please put a comment under the video. And yeah, Merry Christmas. And I'll talk to you soon. Welcome to my tiny kitchen if you haven't been here before.